Hello.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay.
Commissioner-
Hello, this is Commissioner Robinson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We hear you. We can hear you,
Okay,
sir.
good.
Thank you.
All right. I lost connection there.
All right. Thank you.
Well,
Okay,
good mo-
Judge.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being present today. Today is Friday, July the 16th, in the year of our Lord 2021. Happy Friday to everyone. And we do have quite a bit of an involved agenda. So with 12 items, only 4 being informational items. And we are beginning at 11:35. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started right away. And I'll turn it back over to you, Annette, real quick.
Yes, Judge. And I'll just make a note. It's 10:35 Mountain Time, 11:35 Central.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And so we, yes, as difficult as it's been these last few months, we do finally have a quorum. So we can go into the minutes if you would like.
Okay, yes, please. I've been able to read the minutes. I don't know if anybody else has, but I was able to go over them while we were waiting. And so I make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second by Webb.
Okay, so we have a motion by Judge Guevara and a second by Mayor Webb. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, do we have any? No nays, so motion carries. Minutes are approved. Okay, and then the next thing that we have is our first item on the agenda, which is the Rio Grande Council of Governments Budget Amendment number 2. Annette?
Judge, if we may, just before we get, in case there's any public comments, if we can just ask that.
Yes, I apologize for that. Is there anyone present who would like to make a public comment at this time? Please feel free to do. Please identify yourself and feel free to do so. Okay, if there is none, then we will go on to item number 1. Thank you, Annette, for making sure that I included that. Okay,
Thank you.
item 1
Yes,
is amendment number 2 by Annette Gutierrez.
Yes, thank you. And again, apologies to all our board members. I am sorry that we're not, we'll be ready moving forward with the rest of our meetings to ensure that we can get started promptly. This agenda item is our budget amendment 2. We did have a finance committee meeting on Wednesday. The attendees present included Judge Guevara, Representative Schwartzbein, Mayor Summer Webb, as well as Representative Henry Rivera. And the purpose of our amendments that we produced for you all with our budgets is in order to reflect the actual grant funding that we have awarded to date. We also want to reflect any carryover funds and whether there's any projected program costs through the end of the fiscal year that need to be identified. And then finally, just to reflect the shifting and adjustments that we're making on our revenues and expenditures. So you can get a really clear, accurate picture of how we are utilizing the funds that we receive from the various agencies. And so here for you is the total agency budget. And as you can see, there are the total revenue is $10,051,122. Our expenditures are $10,042,556. We're looking at excess revenue over expenditures of $8,566. And the difference between Amendment 1 and Amendment 2 is that we're looking at an additional increase of revenues of $214,888. And our expenditures at $215,718. We did, as I mentioned, have that finance committee where we went into great detail with all of our fund sources, which include our general fund, enterprise, as well as our special revenue fund. And so we did give specific information to the finance committee to explain how these adjustments were made and why they were made. And so if there are any questions for me at this moment, I can answer those. If not, I would ask for consideration for approval of Amendment 2.
Motion to approve, Rivera.
Thank you.
Second, Judge Evans.
Thank you. Oh, Judge, you're on mute, Judge Guevara.
Sorry about that. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, there being none, motion carries. Okay. Second, I'm multitasking over here. So next item, number 3, is Public Funds Investment Quarterly Report for accounts held at Wells Fargo. Annette?
Yes, thank you, Judge. As you all recall, we do provide you a quarterly report for, as required by the Public Funds Investment Act. And so I'll just be giving you information on the third quarter activity regarding the funds that we hold at the Wells Fargo Bank. The first item includes our operating account. As you can see, the market value as of March 31st was $587,883. And as of June 30th, 2021, the book and market value is now at $1,131,584. We are showing an interest earned for this quarter of $539. And the reason for the difference is that we did have expenditures and cash advances that occurred in between that period, that third period of $543,701. So that's how our operating account looks as of June 30th. Regarding our 911 account, where we hold our CSEC advanced funds for the State Commission, as of March 31st, the market value was $87,008. As of June 30th, the book and market value is now at $66,206. We are looking at interest earned for this quarter of $44. And again, there was a decrease between this period of $20,802. The last item is the Texas Commission Environmental Quality account, where we also would receive advanced funds. As of March 31st, the market value was $112,026. For June 30th, the book and market value was $135,995. And so that is a difference of $23,969. Are there any questions for me regarding the public investment report that I can provide any answers to? Okay, thank you. That's all I have for this agenda item.
We will need to ask you to go ahead and exit the part if you don't have a card.
Judge Cavetta, you're on mute again. I'm sorry.
Okay, and I didn't know if somebody was trying to speak.
I think that's some background noise.
Okay, great. Okay, that was an information item. Thank you, Annette. And so we'll go on to the next item. This is an action item, this next item, support letter for Education Service Center Region 19.
Yes, ma'am. So this is just a really exciting initiative. I'm hopeful that everyone is in support of this initiative as the board. And so we are seeking approval today to allow administration to sign a letter of support to the Education Service Center Region 19. And this is for their application to the National Telecommunications Information Administration. And we would be in that letter providing an in-kind match. And so Region 19 is requesting for identified partners to provide a match, whether that's in-kind or monetary, towards this program. And so we are prepared to commit in-kind services up to $15,000, and that would represent 10% of my time and benefits and associated overhead costs, as well as meeting room space for the collaborative partners. I would also assist in coordination efforts and serve as a facilitator for the project when necessary. The application is due in August, and they have identified partners that include the City of El Paso, the County of El Paso, the school districts, and then Region 19, as well as a broadband service provider will also be included in this application.
Okay, sounds like a great endeavor. I make a motion that we approve you submitting this support letter.
And this is Judge Cano. I second the motion.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? None. Okay, carries. Item number 4. This has to do with the Greater El Paso Chamber of Commerce resolution by Annette Gutierrez, and this is an action item.
Yes, ma'am. We are seeking board approval to approve a resolution supporting the grant application to the Small Business Administration on behalf of the Greater El Paso Chamber of Commerce. They are going to be submitting a grant application to SBA for their 2021 Community Navigator Pilot Program. And this is a targeted outreach and technical assistance program for small businesses in the Rio Grande region. And it's composed of El Paso, Hudspeth, Culberson, Jeff Davis, Presidio, Brewster County, as well as Doñana County. And so their application is encompassing our entire seven county region. I do understand that the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is also going to be applying for this grant as well. It's a substantial grant. It's for $2 million for 2 years. I would just want to note that the difference between the two is that Greater El Paso Chamber will be focused, the Greater El Paso Chamber will focus on our 7 counties. And as I understand, the Hispanic Chamber will have a footprint of El Paso County. So I do think that there is still a great opportunity for both chambers to be applying for these funds because they will have different target areas. And they did come to the Council of Governments to seek support for this initiative since it's covering our same area as well. Are there any questions for me?
Annette.
Yes, sir.
Just kind of right quick. Hey, I'm just kind of curious. Has there been any kind of dialogue with the other entity as far as, you know, kind of competing for the same funds? And I understand the difference in the target area, but I'm just kind of curious if there's been any type of attempt to you know, kind of maybe to work together versus working, you know, for the same funds and it going to one or the other.
And I will, I'll give you my point of view, and if anyone from the county or from the city would like to include their feedback in case they've had communication directly with the Hispanic Chamber, they do have a different target population. And Hispanic Chamber, I think, with their clientele, there's smaller businesses that they work with directly. I think that the Greater Chamber has been more along the lines with larger industries, not to say that they don't cross mix, but as I said previously, there is enough work out there where if they were to receive the funding, both of them, there's enough businesses out there that need the help and support still as we deal with COVID. And so I don't know if Representative Anello or Schwartzbein or Rivera or Commissioner Leon or Robinson, if you all have anything else to add in case you've had any interaction with Hispanic Chamber on their application?
No.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Yeah.
So Judge, yes, go ahead.
So I just had a question on this pilot program. How are the different communities notified that this is available? Is it just through advertising or?
On the next agenda item, you'll see that that the chamber has identified the council as a partner to the navigation program. And so if theoretically, if the chamber were to receive these funds, then the Rio Grande Council of Governments would be considered one of the spokes in the wheel, and we would be a partner to them where we would receive funding for this initiative so we can hire staff to be in the region outside of El Paso assisting the businesses. And so that's how they would be notified and how the businesses would be able to work with this person one-on-one, because there would actually be staff there.
Okay, thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions regarding this agenda item? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve Rivera. This is a good program, Miss Annette. I like that.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it, Rep. Anello.
Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, now we can go on to item number 5, Greater El Paso Chamber Memorandum of Understanding by Annette Gutierrez.
Yes, and so as I mentioned, this is leading up to the next agenda item. I am asking for board approval to allow us to submit this memorandum of understanding with the Greater Chamber of El Paso. By us signing this this memoranda and it being allowed to be included in the application, it just makes it that much stronger that the chamber has identified these partners to assist them in carrying through these efforts. And so what we are envisioning is if the chamber were to receive the funding, the Rio Grande Council of Governments would be eligible for up to $250,000 to be utilized for 2 years. What we would like to do with that funding is we would like to house a business retention expansion representative in Doña Ana County, and then we would also like to have one placed either in the Tri-County area or in Culberson County. But those 2 individuals would be taking care of the rural counties. And so what also I would like to mention is that the Workforce Solutions Boardplex is also a spoke in the wheel to this initiative for the chamber, so they would also be a partner. So potentially you could have in our region up to $500,000 that's going to be infused into our rural communities to assist our businesses. And so I know that the businesses have done a tremendous amount of work to keep themselves operating under these difficult times. But the whole goal of these positions would be to allow them to identify additional access to capital, additional trainings, also assist them with their business plans, and just think about how they can be more resilient for any future situation that would occur similar to what we're experiencing today. Are there any questions for me with this item?
Annette, just if no questions, I'll make a motion to move forward and approve.
Second.
Okay. Judge Guevara, you're on mute again. I believe that was Judge Cano making a motion, Judge Neely seconding.
Yes. And all those in favor, say aye, please. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, there are none opposed, so motion carries.
Yes,
Next.
ma'am. And I have the several other agenda items, Judge. And so this one here is for the nominations committee for fiscal year 22. I am requesting for us to form a committee of at least 3 board members who can assist in identifying a nomination to provide a slate of officers, as well as 3 officers and 4 directors. I would ask that if anyone would like to be considered for the position, if you would not be on the nominating committee. And so last year, I believe we had Commissioner Robinson serving, and I do believe that we also had Commissioner Cano. I can't remember right now who our 3rd one is, but if I can get any assistance in trying to get this up and running, so we'll be ready for our annual meeting, which will be September 24th at 10 a.m. at the Community Foundation. And that meeting will also be it'll be hybrid, so you can either attend virtually or you can attend in person. So at this point, I would just ask if we can get some volunteers to serve on this nominations committee.
Hi, Annette. This is Rapinello. I'll volunteer.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Annette, Judge Cano here. I'll be willing to volunteer.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes,
We just need one more.
Yes.
Commissioner Robinson, do you want to assist again this year?
He didn't say no, so I think that means yes.
I was on mute. Yes, I'll serve.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Okay, so then Judge Guevara, we have our 3 members.
Okay, great. Thank you, Representative Anello and Judge Cano and Mr. Robinson. So all those in favor of those 3 being on the committee, on the nominating committee, please. Oh, wait, we need to have a motion first, right?
Motion to approve, Rivera.
Okay, thank you. We need a second.
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 Cantu.
I think we had 2 seconds, but I think it was Commissioner Leon. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
Commissioner Leon. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, any opposed? Okay, there being none, motion carries. Go ahead, Annette, with the next item.
Yes, ma'am. This is the holiday schedule. We bring this forward to you every year for approval. We did present this to our Finance Committee on Wednesday, as you can see here. And for the Finance Committee, I did make the corrections on the date, so I just wanted to make that notation. You can see here that these are the same holidays that we had proposed last year, so there's no change to that. What might seem a bit strange, but I just want to make an explanation on that, is you all have been so generous to us in allowing us to close down the week of Christmas. And then again, that's a lot of staff to be with family. We do have a skeleton crew. There's not much activity, and so that's why we ask for that specific week. But because of the way that Christmas is falling on a Saturday, we would work Monday through Thursday from December 20 up to December 23rd. We'd be off that Friday, and then we'd be off until the next Friday. And so that's why if you look at those days, it's a Friday to Friday setup in terms of the days that we would have off. And so I just wanted to make that explanation because it was purposeful. And so I would ask for the board to consider allowing us to go forward in this same schedule and make this available to our staff for FY22.
Toscano here to move forward with the recommended holiday schedule.
Second, Rivera.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. And number 8 is yours also, Annette, correct?
Yes, ma'am. This is another action item. I am asking for board approval to allow us to sign a contract with the Texas Water Development Board. This is for the new cycle of the water planning process. This is now that's in its 6th cycle. So we've been administering this program for quite a few years now. And we are required to have all contracts. The contracts are required to be signed by the 31st of August. The start date for the contract will be February 6, 2021, and the termination date is August 31st, 2026. The initial amount for the contract that will be made available to us is $100,852. And what they do is they provide us the funding incrementally, since this is a 5-year process. After all the funding has been made, we have been averaging around just a little bit under $1 million in terms of this initiative. And so I would respectfully ask for board approval to allow us to sign the contract with the Water Development Board.
I make a motion that we approve you signing the contract with the Water Development Board. Do you have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Judge. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, none. Motion carries. Oh, this next one is yours too, Annette. Environmental Protection Agency Brownfield Program. Go ahead.
Yes, this is the if you all recall, last board meeting we did have a presentation from Santec regarding brownfield programs. And so what I would like to do is I would like to seek permission from the board for us to start exploring the possibility of putting together a grant application for the brownfield program. And you can see here what the timeline is. What I would like to do is have a service area that covers our 5 rural counties in Doña Ana County. I would not put very much emphasis on El Paso because the Downtown Management District is already managing an EPA program and we wouldn't want to compete with them. But I do think that there are great opportunities with this program because the allowance now is so that you can actually look at abandoned buildings, and that can be considered a brownfield to where you could possibly use some of these assessment dollars for cleanups. And so the one thing that I do want to mention though is that Commissioner Chaparro, we would be working with you and Las Cruces very closely to ensure that this is something that you would want in your community to have a brownfield program, because as competitive as it is for EPA, we really need Doña Ana County to be the anchor for this program, because if we went alone just with our rural counties, we wouldn't be competitive in the process, and I think it'd be difficult for us to be awarded. And so I hope that you all had an opportunity to review that information that Mr. Gadak had provided at the last meeting, but I do see that there is some viable potential in terms of redevelopment for our areas. There is also going to be a webinar on Brownfield at the end of this month, and so I would like to attend that as well, just to see. And then also what we could do is, if I'm allowed, because I really want to know, I want your feedback, because if you all don't think it's something that's viable or there's not of interest, then we won't pursue it anymore. But I can bring back this information to you to let you know how things are looking, and that way we can get ourselves ready for that submission grant date, which we would anticipate would be possibly mid-November of 2021. Are there any questions for me?
Annette, who can attend that webinar that you're gonna?
Anyone can. I can forward the invite to you all. It's going to be hosted by EPA.
Okay. All right. And so this talks about the redevelopment of properties. So I'm just wondering if a property that experienced a fire, if it's a historical building, could be eligible for the grant.
I believe it could, just because, again, they're using that terminology of abandoned building. And so if it's not being utilized now, but you all would need to know what level of remediation you'd have to do, and especially because it is a historical building, then that would qualify for it. I think that attending this webinar would give us some more guidance on that in terms of how to deal with historical buildings. But the knowledge that I have as of today, I believe that would be an eligible project.
Okay, so but the caveat is that it has to be an abandoned building, correct?
Well, that's one of the criteria. It doesn't have to, for sure. So if you have any establishments that used to be gas stations, that's just the easiest way to give this comparison, or give the analogy, or give the example, I'm sorry, is that if you had a gas station and it's no longer being used, you know that there's some tanks underground. And so anybody who would want to redevelop in that area would have to deal with that. And so the first step that you'd have to do is do an assessment to see what level of remediation you have to do. You know that you're going to have to take those tanks out, but once you take the tanks out, what amount of clean dirt are you going to be able to put on top to be able to say that this can be used for commercial establishment, for a restaurant or something like that. Most of the times, if there's a lot of contamination, they will allow for commercial establishments, but not for residential. So those are the ways that they've been using these brownfield. And then Alderman Cantu, who's on the meeting right now, he has been very involved in the downtown management district grant. And so I don't know if there's anything else you would want to add to that, Alderman Cantu, in case there's anything that I'm missing.
No, thank you, Annette. This is actually a very good program for a lot of our communities, especially in the county areas, where we do have a lot of buildings that could be reused for other projects or other things that you could see. We actually have a brownfields project in San Elizario, which is a 119-acre farm that we're working on. We did an assessment, phase 1 and 2, on 3 acres of it just to get started, working with the EPA, and we're looking at continuing to do the whole property for redevelopment, possibly recreation and continue farming. But I think it is a very, very useful resource to go in with brownfields, because they do have all the technical support you will need to redevelop any piece of land that invest money into the community. So I do do make a motion to approve this.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderman.
Alderman Cantu. All right, I'll entertain a motion at this time.
I'll second that. This is Alderman Cantu.
Okay, you're actually going to be the one making the motion because no one had made the motion. So we have,
I'll second
that. I'll make that.
and who is seconding?
Commissioner Leon.
Commissioner Leon.
Yes, I'll second.
Great,
Thank
thank
you.
you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. You have the floor again in that Open Meetings Act suspension update.
Yes, ma'am. I just want to inform everyone, you, I'm sure are already aware, but the Office of the Attorney General will lift the suspensions of the Open Meetings Act at 12:01 a.m. on September 1st, 2021. And so as a result of that, all provisions of the Open Meetings Act will be in effect, and meetings must be conducted in full compliance with the statute. However, what's already included in the statute is that under Texas Government Code, Section 551127, councils of governments are allowed to hold various public meetings by video conference call if our region chooses to do so. So this is just information right now. We're not asking for you all to take any action, but it's just an informational item. What we will be doing at our next meeting, we will be having a board meeting in September, and we'll be having that on September the 17th. And we will be presenting our proposed budget to you at that time. We have customarily presented the proposed budget in August. However, we need some more time to put this budget together due to some other funding that we are anticipating that's going to be coming in, just to give us some more time to make sure that we have that as comprehensive as possible. So we will not be having a board meeting in August. We will be having it on the 17th. I know that Representative Rivera is on the MPO, and they do have a meeting that date. So I will check and see if perhaps we can maybe push our meeting to 11 o'clock to allow for him and maybe some other members to participate in both meetings if that's possible. But when we do have that meeting on the 17th, it will be in person, but because we have that allowability under Section 551127, it'll still be a hybrid. And so we just want to make sure that we're giving everyone the availability, whatever your preference, your comfort zone is. If you want to be attending virtually and continue to do so and still participate, we want to make that available to you. But if you want to be in person, we need to comply as well. And so are there any questions for me on this item? Okay, and that's all I have to report, Judge Guevara, on this agenda item.
Okay. That was just an information item, so no action is required. And the next item is Horizon Municipal Utility.
Yes, on this one here, wanted to inform everyone, giving you an update status on this because we had talked about it previously. I have been unsuccessful in making any contact with the Horizon Municipal Utility District. I've contacted both Mr. McGinnis, the manager, and the president, Mr. Jarvis, about their membership to the Council of Governments. I've done the communication through email, voicemail, as well as text. And so our next step is that we'll send a certified letter. We just want acknowledgement of their desire to no longer be members. And so as of today, we still haven't filled this position for the special district. And so now that we only have one board meeting left, I would just recommend that we don't fill that position. We can just start new in 22. But I just wanted to give you all an update on where we are with this item because we had discussed it previously. Are there any questions for me on this one?
No, thank you for giving us that information, Annette.
Okay, thank you. I'll now turn it over to Regional Services.
Okay, great. All right, so Marisa, you have this Item number 12, Texas Department of Criminal Justice and the Department of Public Safety, Texas Computerized Criminal History System.
Right. Good morning, Board of Directors. Marisa Quintanilla with the Rio Grande Council of Governments Regional Services Director. It's an informational item. Just wanted to remind our elected officials that the 90% completeness of disposition of cases is still in effect. Prior to the submittal of this agenda item, I was somewhat concerned because some of our jurisdictions had not reached that 90% of dispositions for adults and juveniles. And so after the submittal of this agenda item, the governor's office went ahead and reduced, made an amendment to the 90% for this year. They lowered the requirement for 78. All counties needed to be at an average of 78% for both adults and juveniles and dispositions when they're entered into the DPS database. And so that's just for this year. And so below or behind the agenda item, you do have the jurisdictional dispositions of completeness by percentages there. All of our jurisdictions went ahead and were above the 78%, but I think moving forward, we need to be cognizant that all jurisdictions need to be at the 90% in order to receive funding from either Homeland Security or the Criminal Justice Division. So I just wanted to go ahead and make that presentation to you all. If you all have any questions, I can answer them as they relate to this 90% disposition of cases.
And Marisa, so as of right now, make sure I understand, for Brewster County, they do need to bring that up to 90% for juvenile, and then
Well, actually,
okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I'm sorry. So as for this fiscal year, for this year, eligibility for 78 and above needs to be reached by July 31st. So 78 and above. So we're good for this year. But moving forward, if you see the 86%, that would have been an issue if they still had it at the 90%. So,
I'm sorry.
yeah, so that would have certainly been an issue, and I'm hoping that Judge Cano can see the chart, because that would certainly have a huge impact on his jurisdiction.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, and we had already, even before we heard the news about the the lowering the threshold, we had some things. Anyway, yeah, we'll be prepared.
And for Hudspeth and Presidio, where it says no report, it's just because the reporting comes out of Brewster County and then Culberson County, because that is the headquarters for the juvenile probation department there. So it's a combined tri-county probation, and then Hudspeth and Culberson, they have a joint probation. So it's out of Culberson County, the reporting.
So we're actually covered.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, because I didn't know who I was going to have to get on to about not.
No, ma'am, you're good. And then I guess Judge Udias didn't make it on the call. I can reach out to Ms. McDonald and the judge just to let them know that moving forward for the next cycle, we need to just make sure that everybody's at that 90%.
Okay, thank you, Marisa.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. All right, and that was an information item only. So if no one has any questions or comments, we'll go ahead and move along then. We've actually taken care of a lot of these items very quickly. So next, do we have anything on Area Agency on Aging?
Not for this month's meeting, ma'am.
Okay, great. Okay, and Executive Director's report?
Just 2 items to note. I mean, there's a lot of activities going on, but just informational, continuing to facilitate the Area Agency on Aging conference calls with our AAA directors. A lot of activity is always happening in this program, and so keeping myself busy very much in that respect. Also had the Texas Association of Regional Councils Executive Directors Conference call. We did talk for some at length about the Open Meetings Act and what other council governments are doing. And just as an informational item, I think most councils of governments are going to be continuing the hybrid approach to allow their members the most opportunities to participate. And that will conclude my report.
Okay, thank you, Annette. And for President's report, the only thing that I would like to report is that us as county judges, all county judges in the region have submitted our request to the governor for assistance for border security. So we did have to submit the request for personnel or equipment. Our law enforcement, our EMS, our fire, our county attorneys, district attorneys would be needing for that endeavor. And so that was submitted on Friday, and we remain to find out if the governor is actually going to get the funding that he's requesting for all the border counties. And so that's the biggest item that I've had lately. And I am hearing of a few coronavirus cases. In Rio County, we have one active coronavirus case. There's one in Brewster County. There's one in Alpine. There's one in Balmorhea. And so we're still not completely out of the woods yet. So that's all I have also.
And then Judge, under announcements, just another reminder that we are going to be having the annual meeting for general membership, and it will be at the Community Foundation on the 14th at 10 a.m. And we will be doing that both in person and through video. And so we have been sending out, we sent out a survey previously just to ask for people's availability. And so this date, I'm so sorry, it shouldn't say September 14th, it should say September 24th. I apologize. So it would be for September 24th at 10 a.m. And so we'll be checking in to see who can attend just to ensure that we have our quorum, because without a quorum, we can't conduct business. So we'll be working on that diligently.
Okay, so no meeting in August.
Correct, ma'am.
And then the next time that we'll meet is going to be for our annual meeting on the 17th.
The board meeting will be the 17th. The annual meeting will be the 24th.
Okay, great.
I'll change that right now. Yes.
Does anybody else have any announcements that they'd like to share or give at this time? Okay.
I think, Judge, I think it's a bit interesting or amusing that as late as we started, this is going to be one of the meetings that the shorter meetings. So I apologize to everyone. For whatever reason, that's how it worked out. We were very expedient.
Yes, very, very. Thank you. And thanks for ensuring that we did have a quorum, because it's so hard to reschedule. If it's hard to quorum, it's even harder to reschedule. So I'm glad that we were able to go ahead and take care of everything. It's 12:18, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn if someone make that motion.
So moved, Judge Cano.
Okay, so we have a motion by Judge Cano.
Leon, second.
Okay, Commissioner Leon, seconds. All right, and all those in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, since there are none opposed, the time is 12:19 and we are now adjourned. And I wish everybody a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate it.
Everybody.
Bye.